Hi folks, and welcome to another Glenn Maney Talks Chelsea. Yes, last night it was Chelsea 1, Zenit St. Petersburg 0 in the first game of our defence of the Champions League. After a brilliant firework display, it soon became apparent that the fireworks were going to be the highlight of the night. I personally thought it was not dire, but pretty low tempo in the first half, and it wasn't helped by the fact that Zenit were playing with literally 10 men behind the ball, and they needed breaking down. And there's going to be a lot of teams that find Zenit hard to break down. Probably why they're top of the Russian league. It's we always think of the Russian league as Mickey Mouse, but it's a big old country and they produce lots of quality players. And I think last night we saw their cream, really. They only looked like scoring once, maybe twice. Played on the break, but very compact, very organised in defence, and it made for a pretty boring game. Let's be honest about it. That said, some of ours weren't on their normal level, in my humble opinion. I know some people disagree, so I'm just saying it as I saw it. It's going to be a short one today. So firework display followed by the FIFA awards for player of the tournament at the European Championships, and Jorginho, I don't know what that was they gave Jorginho. It looked to me like they got two of them silver hair dryers from Boots and stuck them together. But there you go, player of the tournament. There's a couple of hair dryers stuck together. So yeah, nice to see little Nagolo get an award. Still haven't worked that one out. Okay, you're the best midfielder in the tournament, and you're the best player in the tournament. Oh, where'd you play? Midfield. I don't know how that one. I don't know how that one works, but it was nice to see two Chelsea players win the awards anyway. So yeah, we got started. For me, tempo too low. We know we're going to get this a lot this season, where you get sides who just park the bus, and we've got to break them down, which we did eventually, because at least this season we have got a really clinical finisher in Romelu Lukaku. But yeah, it was quite a hard watch that first half. We laboured, and Ziyech, since he's come back from his injury, hasn't been the player that he was before the injury. Not very much to spark the imagination in his performance, and there were a lot of players out there last night that seemed subdued to me. I'm not sure if you think the same, and I don't know why that would be. But as long as they're up for the Spuds on Sunday, I don't really care. We won 1-0. We got the 3 points. It was job done. That's all we needed to do. Yeah, not a great spectacle. So I'll crack on with the scores. Mendy, hope his injury isn't too bad. He took a real knock in the ribs when you watch that in slow motion. Didn't have an awful lot to do. Most of the stuff was straight at him or they missed. And there wasn't a lot, was there? I think they had 2 shots on target. One great tackle from Rudiger that I can remember when they looked through, and also Reece James. He did what he did against, I think it was West Brom. He was ball watching. The bloke got by him, but Reece had enough pace to get back and put a great interception in before the guy could shoot. So yeah, there was a lot of individual sort of good tackles and stuff. That run by Rudy had been so great if he'd finished it with a goal. That was one of the highlights of the game. So Mendy, yeah, I digress. Sorry folks, you know what to expect if you watch these videos. Mendy, yeah, he gets a 7 from me. He didn't do anything wrong. His distribution was decent last night. Didn't have an awful lot to do. good in the air. Yeah, he gets a 7 from me. Reece James. Yeah, Reece last night, a lot of his crosses were really poor, which is unlike Reece James. And defensively, as I say, he wasn't switched on all the time, but he got back a couple of times. His speed got him out of trouble. I don't know why it is. Maybe having a game off. Maybe he's one of these players, like I think Mason Mount is, where you have to play and play and play him. Because he wasn't at his super best last night, Reece James. But I'm still going to give him a 7. You know, he did okay. In the middle of defence, we had Aspie, which was a surprise for me. I thought I'd give Chalobah a run out and played Aspie against Tottenham. But no, Aspie did normal, good captain performance, great ball, great cross for the Lukaku goal, and Aspie gets a 7.5 from me. In the middle of that back four is my man of the match. A lot of you probably going to disagree with this, but do you know what? I watched Christensen and then I watched it again this morning on television, and Christensen was right at it last night. The amount of times he intercepted stuff where they could have been dangerous, the amount of times he won headers, and he was winning stuff halfway up his own half. You know, he was proper on it. And Christensen last night was my man of the match with 8.5. Rudiger did okay last night. Great run, couple of great tackles. Yeah, one of the better Chelsea players, and for that reason, I'm giving him an 8. Alonso last night, you wouldn't even really known that Alonso was on the pitch, would you? One chance at goal that he put wide, scraped it wide, and didn't have to do an awful lot of defending down that side, and his balls, like Greece's on the other side for Alonso, were pretty poor. Felt a bit sorry for Lukaku last night. His service wasn't the best, and so Alonso is going to get a 6.5 from me. In the middle, Jorginho and Cover. Jorginho last night, it's a weird one to mark. That first half, you know, I sometimes criticise Jorginho, not as a footballer, but for playing it back and sideways too much, particularly when the tempo is slow. He slows it down even more. First half last night, I was just shaking my head. I thought to myself, I wish he would go off and play with his air dryers. If there was a forward ball on, he'd normally play it backwards. It was a hard watch for me. You're probably going to disagree. Some people probably thought he played great, playing it sideways and backwards all the time. And it's not worth falling out about it. It's just a difference of opinion. Second half, when they come into it a bit more, I was glad he was there. It needed slowing down, and he did it perfectly. For that reason, Jorginho gets a 7 from me last night. Kovac, he won a lot of ball, a lot of surging runs forward, trying to make something happen. One of the better players in a blue shirt last night. Terrible shot, probably hasn't landed yet, but we expect that from Cover. I think Saturday was a one-off, his goal, wasn't it? But he was one of our better players, and for that reason, Cover gets an 8 from me last night. I think he's having a good season. Maybe the fact they brought Saul in, and he's thinking, take away Saturday's performance by Saul, but thinking, I've got real competition here, because despite some of our more enlightened fans, Saul will be a good signing. And in front we had Mason Mount. Well, we had Ziyech actually and Mason Mount. Mason Mount didn't have his best game last night from my point of view. Lost the ball, so I watched it again this morning. lost the ball 4 times in pretty cheap positions. There was one decision where Lukaku was through, and for some reason Mason Mount didn't play it to him. Not his best game. That said, they really singled Mount out for some pretty tough dark arts. Watching it again, he took a lot of stick last night. Well done to the young lad for not losing it, actually. The pullbacks, the shirt tugs, everything was on him last night. I think they identified him as a point of danger, and I think it got to him. Not his best game, and for that reason, and because I know his quality, Mason Mount gets a 6.5 from me. Ziyech, you wouldn't have known that he was on the pitch, would you? You wouldn't have known he was on the pitch. He since he's come back from injury, let's not beat about the bush. He's been way below what it was before he got injured. What did he miss? 2-3 games. It's hard to get my head around it unless he's still carrying injury. But last night Ziyech gets a 6 from me. I thought he was just quite honestly pretty much a waste of space. I would like to have seen Havertz on earlier, or even Werner, because Werner would have given us something different. And as we saw when Havertz came on, the ball retention was a lot better, because Ziyech just loses it and doesn't bother running back. Just bye mate, good luck with the ball. So yeah, Ziyech gets a 6 from me last night. And then we got the big man up front, Lukaku. Didn't have his best game, but didn't have a lot of support either. But you know what? The boy got up and he won it for us. A lovely header. Knew he didn't have to break the net. Just let it touch your head and go in. Great centre forward play. He was getting a bit of stick for his hold-up play, but I don't see that. I think he done okay last night. Maybe he didn't stick to him as many times as it normally does, but it was part of a below-par performance for the team, wasn't it? And he was left isolated a lot as well. Sometimes when he got that ball, he'd have 2 or 3 of them around him, and no one in close support, which was unusual for Chelsea. So yeah, Lukaku gets an 8. He was a handful. He was taking 2 or 3 players with him all the time, which should have left openings. It was our own sort of slow, inept display that didn't lead to more chances coming off of Lukaku. So that was it really. The main thing is, I'm not going to be too downbeat, because it wasn't the worst performance in the world, and it certainly wasn't the best. We've got to learn. You would think Tuchel hammers it into them every day. When they are playing what they call nowadays a low block, I call getting 10 behind the ball. We've got to learn to bang that ball about more. And if any team's capable of it, it's Chelsea, which is why it's sometimes more annoying. Anyway, let's be upbeat. We've got 3 points on the board in the group stage against a difficult opponent, a stubborn opponent, and on to the Spuds on Sunday. So, a lot of stick flying around for Mason Mount still about the fact that he's got a banner. I'm going to do a little vlog on that, I think, because it's getting on my nerves, to be honest. Right, okay, folks. Thanks for watching. Please throw a like. Please throw a subscribe. Just press the subscribe button. If one day I get up to 1,000 subscribers, we can really take the channel on a level. I've got a few really nice interviews, but I'm not going to use up me good grace with certain people, with just sort of 100 people watching. Okay folks, thanks ever so much. Thanks for your support, and speak to you after Sunday. Up to Chelsea.